What's up guys, welcome to the channel. On today's video we are looking at this little 1/18 scale hard body Toyota Land Cruiser from I think it's pronounced, is it Eazy or Eazy RC? Anyway, it's called the Patriot. And what I'm going to concentrate on this video, we're going to put it side by side. I'm going to put it side by side with the Rochobby Katana, because from the surface they do look exactly the same. They're both 1/18 scale, they're both hard body Land Cruisers, they've both got the same wheels and tyres. Underneath it's slightly different, and in this video that's what we're going to look at. We're going to delve in a little bit deeper, and I'm going to show you why this one is a little bit more expensive than this one. So we're going to do a few tests on the bench, and we'll see if the price of this is actually relevant to its performance anyway. Before we get them side by side, let's have a closer look at this Patriot. So then, little 1/18 scale mini crawler, 2.4 gig, 4x4 lithium battery. They're friction dampers, 9 grams servo, ready to run. Not much more info on the box. Little set of instructions. There's a charger in there and a wheel wrench. And then you got a little transmitter there. Feels a little bit, I don't know, cheap. Steering trim, throttle trim on the side there. And that is about that. Takes 4 AA's. And then here's the little truck. And I must say, these little hard body things do look really good. Is it? Very nice. It's got a full, not that you can open the doors, but there is a full interior in there. Proper spare wheel on the back, ladder, roof rack. The lights aren't operational on the top, but you can put LEDs in there. Pretty sure it's got front LEDs. I'm not sure about the rear on this one. Because it's a hard body, the body's fixed on there, you have to undo a load of screws underneath to get it off. So all the electronics are under the hood, or the bonnet. It comes with a little 2S LiPo. Let me just... It says it's 380 milliamp hour. This was a test sample that was sent to me, and it seems that they forgot to leave the battery in it. The batteries are already in the transmitter though, so I just presume because this is one of their samples, no battery. Anyway, it will be this size. You've got one. I've got one here out of the Rochobby Katana, and this one is out of the FTX Outback Minis. So I've got batteries, but I believe it comes with a slightly smaller LiPo. I'll confirm, and I'll put it on the screen now. But anyway, all the electronics are under there, so you don't need to take the body off. Underneath, front and rear axles, it is 4-wheel drive. You've got plastic drive shafts. The chassis on this one is plastic. There's a little 180 motor in there. Tyres are nice and soft, and they are beadlocks as well. So beadlock wheels. And overall, very nice. Friction dampers. Wouldn't let friction dampers put you off on these things because they're so light that you don't really notice. They are a little bit bouncy as you're going along, but you're only on, you know, small obstacles, so I wouldn't worry too much. I think you can get, there are small oil shocks available for these minis, and the Panda Hobby comes with them as stock, but I wouldn't worry about the suspension. Nothing really more to say about it. Let's get a battery in it. Let's give it a quick test on the bench, and then we'll put it next to the Katana. And we'll test them side by side. We'll do a little climb. See who can climb the best. We'll do like a slow crawl to check out that modulation between the two. Just a tip when you're connecting these sort of batteries up to different models, just check the polarity of the LiPo. Right, transmitter on. So the lights come on when you accelerate, which isn't my favourite. So your indicators, yeah. Turn signals. And at the rear. Got brake lights as well. Have we got reverse? Well, they come on reverse anyway. And then steering. Pretty fast. Just as noisy as the Rochobby. So overall, not too bad. Right, let's put it side by side. Let's just go over everything between them. Wasn't really planning on taking this out on a trail just yet. I just wanted to put them side by side, so if anyone was looking at getting the Rochobby, this may be just as good and cost you not as much. So that's the box, the packaging for the Rochobby. It comes in, let me get back a little bit. It actually comes in a really nice case. Maybe that's all you're paying for. And it comes with a different transmitter. So you've got all your normal function there, steering trim, throttle trim. You can also adjust the dual rates, turn the steering, use the steering trim, and that'll be your dual rate. Or you use the throttle, hold the throttle, do the throttle trim, and that will do your throttle dual rates. Like I've said, side by side, identical apart from the body colour, exactly the same mould. You can tell by the bits and pieces on it that it's the same mould that's used. I'd say the colour on that with the black trim here maybe looks a bit better than this. The indicators are coloured in there, whereas they're not on there. So just if I'm going to rate it on their scale looks, this one just looks a little bit more realistic than the white plastic on that one. No real difference up front. You'll notice though, if I do that, this one sits a little bit higher than the Katana. If I park them, if I put them back like that, you'll see again that this one does sit a little bit higher. Now the main difference is underneath. So let's go for the Katana first. You've got a metal chassis on there. So metal chassis on there, plastic chassis on the Patriot. Both have a 180 motor. So the gearbox arrangement is different, so you can just see where that motor's positioned on the Patriot. And then if we go to that side for the Katana, if I hold it like that, you can see motor's lower down and it's orientated flat, whereas this one, the motor's higher up and it's 90 degrees different to that one. So that's going to give this one, with the higher suspension and the motor mounted higher up, you're probably going to have a slightly higher, well, not probably, you are going to have a slightly higher centre of gravity on that one. Axles are different as well. So different axles, tyres are the same. Let's open an axle up on each and see what the gears are like. I can't remember whether this had metal gears or not, but we'll open an axle up on them both just to look at the gears in there. Just have a quick look in there. It's got a metal hex there. Metal dog bones. That's also got metal dog bones. It's got bearings in there. Looks like a plastic hex. Has this got bearings? Yeah, I think that's got bearings as well. Both look like they've got bearings. Let's whip the axles off. So we'll start with the Katana. Now that has got plastic crown and pinion and bushings. Correction as well, I thought they were metal hexes. They are actually plastic. And then the Patriot, that is also plastic crown and pinion and bushings as well, brass bushings. So I'd suggest there's no difference really between the two axles. The only difference is you have to pretty much remove the whole thing to get to there, whereas on this one you just have to take the links off so you can access the screws. And there's a little cover on there, so I'd say this one is actually easier for maintenance of the axles and re-greasing. Talking of grease, there is grease in there. Now this has been run a couple of times, but it doesn't look like there has been any grease whatsoever in there. So lubed, not lubed. Right, I'm going to get these back together and then we'll see which one's better at climbing. I think it's going to be this one because it's got slightly lower centre of gravity, but we will find out next. Right, back together. Before we climb, imagine if it climbed that angle. We're definitely not climbing that. Before we do that, let's do a little flex test. So we'll take the Patriot first. I've got a couple of little 1-inch mudslingers. Awesome little tyres. I've not fitted them to anything yet, but they should fit on here. So with the rear on there, the front is still nice and planted. We can lift, we can go a little bit more before that front comes up. And then on the front's the same. Just starting, although I don't think there's any give on this. So just as I lift the front, the back's coming up. So that is maxed out with them on the front, but it's got a little bit of room to move at the back. Right, so this should be interesting because this one obviously sits a little bit lower because the shocks are slightly smaller. Does that make a difference? Let's check. So that's the back on there. Let's get that on the front. Yeah, so there's no flex on there to lift. So the Patriot, that has got a bit more suspension travel. And then on the front, pretty much the same. Yeah, so the flex for the front is about the same. The rear though, the Patriot does have a little bit more. That is 40 degrees. I'd expect most crawlers, if not all, to be able to do 40 degrees. So let's get the underdog going first. Well, I say underdog, it's not been too bad at the moment, is it? Let's not dismiss it straight away. One thing I'm not too keen on, it looks like it's got little magnets under there, but the bonnet doesn't stay closed very easily. I wonder if because the magnets go onto these screws. Let me just put the screws up a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. So they're both quite noisy, and I want to know if this is not quite as noisy as the Katana. Anyway, 40 degrees, first go. Oh, it's a tough one. Come on. Struggling a bit. Whoa. The departure angle, that it's dragging on the floor, but so it needed a bit of a. There we go. Yeah, it can do it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right, so it can do 40. Right, time for the Katana. 40 degrees, same as last time. Ooh. I'd say that's a bit noisier. We'll test them both together in a minute, one after the other. Yeah, same problem with that, stuck. I'd say that's pretty much the same as the Patriot. It's going to get stuck in exactly the same place. Come on. There we go. Let's hold it there. So they're both fine with 40, so let's put it up to, I'm going to put it up to 42. Before we do that though, let's just sound check. This is the Katana. I'll swap them so they're the same distance from the microphone. So this is the Katana. And then the Patriot. Right, that's definitely louder. Now the problem is, it resonates through the body. If I do it like that, listen. Hang on. So with the bonnet up, listen, and then with it down. Here, you might. I don't know if you'll be able to hear how much louder it is, but there's definitely a difference. You probably can't hear it that much on camera, but there is a difference, and it resonates through the hard body. Right. Anyway, that's enough chat. Let's get this up to 42, I think. It's not got a very good I don't know if I always get confused if it's departure angle or I think it's the departure angle. I'm not sure, but anyway, I'm just going to put it on there. Yeah, that made it. Katana. Oh, that's so much noisier. I think it's safe to say there's no need to be going up another degree or anything. They're both as capable on the climb. 42 degrees, pretty respectable, especially for the hard bodies. What I want to do now is just do a slight side slope and just check that that centre of gravity a bit more. No, it doesn't like that, does it? Never as good at these with the centre of gravity, especially these little light ones. I can't imagine this one's going to be any better. It's just moved it. Don't cheat. Well, it got round, but that's just through that was a fluke rather than anything. Yeah, that's not going to stay. That is about its limit. That's so noisy. Something I forgot to mention, if you look under here, the electronics are all open on that. You can actually see all the circuit board. On this one, it's all encased in there, and this is fully waterproof, and I've had this submerged and it's still going now. I would not submerge this one because I don't believe it's waterproof, whereas this one is definitely waterproof, so that's something to think about as well. I'd say, even though they're both friction dampers, this one just feels a little bit better. It's slightly shorter shocks. This one's a little bit more wobbly. Nothing much more to say about them. And I'd like to tell you the difference. I'd like to tell you the cost difference, but I forgot to look before I started recording. So I put it above them now. The price of that and the price of that. Is it worth the difference? It's a hard one, really, and I don't know whether this is worth the extra money to that. Yes, you get a metal chassis and you get waterproof electronics, but as far as performance goes and looks goes, pretty much nothing in it. A lot of people have upgraded the electronics in this anyway because of the noise. This is noisier, so if you are going to buy one and you are planning on upgrading the electronics in it, I'd probably go for the cheaper option, so you've got a little bit more money to do your upgrades. Plastic chassis, does it matter it's got a plastic chassis? I don't know, probably not. You've not got as much weight low down, but a set of wheel weights is going to sort that out, isn't it? But it's going to be different for everyone. Some of you will prefer this because it is slightly better quality with the electronics and stuff. Obviously comes in the better packaging, it is fully waterproof, but the price difference, that's what you got to look at. Anyway, that's enough from me. I will take this out on a trail at some point. What I might do is I might take that out with the Outback Texan from FTX, because I think these two on the trail will be a good... These two are very similar price, so I think comparing these on a trail would be a pretty good idea. Cheers for watching, guys. I will see you next time.